Hi everyone, it's Margaret here with 60andMe. Thank you so much for being here today. Hope you're doing well wherever you are in this world. Lots going on in our crazy lives, but I wanted to take a moment today and talk about the last few months. Now, we've written quite a bit on 60andMe about the COVID-19 pandemic, giving you support and inspiration. And I've shared a lot about my own journey. And I think that that's one of the strengths of our community here at 60andMe is that we can actually be by each other's side and help navigate these very challenging times. But I wanted to just review, it's lockdown started for most people around the middle of March. It's now July, August, whenever you're watching this, and that's a long time. And there are probably many things that you want to forget about this last few months. But there are some things that I definitely want to remember. And one of our bloggers, Debbie Hensley, wrote an article on the 9 things that she wants to remember from the pandemic. And when I read her article, I was just so aligned with it. I thought there's so much me too. And I wanted to share with you to see whether that actually gives you any perspective on how to, put all the last few months into perspective. By the way, take a look at some of our videos on YouTube. We have over 1,700 now on all the topics related to things of interest to older women. So please subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell so that you'll know when new videos are posted. I really welcome you to do that. So what are some of the things that Debbie wants to remember and what are some that I want to remember? Well, for one thing, we're here. We were lucky. We survived. Now, some of you, I'm sure, were affected personally by this pandemic, by the virus, and hopefully everyone in your family stayed well and your friends. But I know there have been a lot of losses and sadness, and you can't deny that. But we, as we're watching right now, this video, we were lucky. Now, most of us lived through the lockdown period in relative comfort. We had a shower, we had water, food. We did, different things to cope and to make do, and I'll talk about those things later too. But I think that basically we did pretty well. We survived. We survived. Now, the other thing that was important was we made some realizations. One of them was that I personally, even though I have a wonderful community, really missed, loved having the time alone. I decided that I really am kind of an introvert. And I really enjoy the time by myself. So that was one thing that I didn't want to forget, that I've learned something really important about myself, and it's just that I like time alone. I'm a people person in many, many ways, but on the other hand, I'm kind of a homebody too. Maybe you discovered that. One thing I also discovered is that we need nature. We need we need sun exposure, not only for our physical health, but for our well-being in general. We actually, need to get out into the sunshine, vitamin D. We just need to be healthy and well. And sun is, so important. And celebrate the rain, celebrate the rainbows, celebrate the rain, celebrate the spectrum. My little grandson, Max, and I always talk about rainbow days. We look for them. And when I said to him, so Max, what are the 3 things that we need for rainbows? And he said, well, we need light, and we need water, and we need dark skies. And when he said that, it was so cute because it's true. We need dark skies in order to see the light, and we need dark skies to see rainbows. Very, very beautiful statement. But the third thing is we can make do. We can make do with the ingredients we've got. How many times did you look at something, I don't have any, but you made do. You made it work. For example, when the lockdown started, quarantine started, I didn't have any yeast. And so I wanted to learn how to make bread, and I couldn't make any bread because I didn't have yeast. But I made bread that didn't need yeast. I learned, I adapted, I made mistakes along the way, but I did well. So we can be creative, we can substitute, and I don't want to forget that. That was an important lesson. This is something I can apply to the future. Another thing is being mindful of your purchases. Now, how many of you lived a little bit on Amazon or YesStyle or those lovely sites that just offer you the world of stuff? Yes, I did too for a little while. And then I started to realize that I didn't really need any of this. Now, I must admit, I played a bit with makeup. I bought some makeup and experimented and did some videos on that because I thought that was kind of, it would be a fun thing to do. But, it's all about enjoying the detail. Like when you buy something, rather than just put it to one side, like look at it and appreciate it and know that it's there as a gift for you. You were able to afford to buy that, enjoy it. It's the detail. Another thing I learned is you don't need to fill every minute. You know, it's okay just to sit. It's okay to meditate. It's okay just to be. You don't have to watch mindless TV or Netflix or anything. You can just be. And I think that was a lesson that a lot of people learned. And you know, it's one of those. Yeah, we fill our gaps when we needed to, but then it's nice to just do nothing. Another thing that Debbie mentions, which I also appreciated. Now, since we lived through a seasonal change from winter, cold, you know, early spring to summer, was to appreciate the seasons. I mean, honestly, how beautiful was that when the little crocuses started coming up and the flowers started blooming, even those short walks that we had to take, we couldn't get out into the world. Those were so precious that we could see how nature kind of was being reborn, like the earth was in many places in the world. How, you know, the leaves came back into blossom, and you know, after a cold winter of darkness and no abundance in vegetation, there it was. The seasons reminded us that there is this cycle. And so maybe what did you see? What did you learn? And another thing was the birds. That's another thing Debbie mentions, and it's so true. They came back, and you just couldn't avoid hearing them. Maybe it's because for several weeks or months you had been so quiet, but it was really, really powerful. Another thing that Debbie mentions, and I think it's lovely too, is that music heals your soul. I actually turned to music. I was watching opera and other things that were provided free of charge. It's another thing that happened during the lockdown, but I found music was my kind of the rhythm of my heart, and I listened to music while I did other things. I put my headphones on at nighttime and listened, and just went back to some of the old favorites. You know, I mean, Ed Sheeran and Andrea Bocelli, anything by Andrea Bocelli. I listened to the Cafe Ibiza, which I love, that kind of lounge music, that sunset music. That was so lovely too. But anyway, music fills the soul. I think that's true. Spending less when you feel like you have less is actually kind of a great exercise in downsizing. Like, you don't need all that stuff. And so I think that a lot of people learned, you know, not to buy anything other than essentials. That's kind of one of the goals of downsizing. You know, do more with less. I learned that too. Another thing is I learned how to aim for positivity. I tried my best throughout the whole situation to, you know, to just be more grateful and appreciative of all the things in my life, to have gratitude, and from that to create a positivity that spilled over into everything that I did. One thing that I want to highlight from my memories is I got to know my children so much better. I mean, both my sons are adults, of course, and they both had children of their own, but we got to know each other. We talked about important stuff. When, you know, my son would say, "How are you doing, Mom?" Like, we'd actually listen. I'd actually have a chance to talk, or I'd say to him, "How are you doing?" And I really meant that. And we got to a different level with our communication, and I think it made such a difference in all of our lives. And my grandchildren too. We couldn't see each other for a long time, like many of you, but we talked and we shared. We shared our rainbow days. We shared our comments as they grew and they became more aware. And you know, each one has their own little journey that they had to face with this too. We were there for each other. It was beautiful. So we learned, and I'll never forget this. This is one thing that I'll never forget from the pandemic. And it's still going on, by the way. I'm not, like, there's no closure here yet. This is just right where I am at the moment. Is that of all the things I remember, is that we are flawed human beings. We are imperfect. We are broken. And if anything, I think in many ways this has broken people in ways that they never expected. Broken in the sense that they're lost and afraid and, you know, just not able to cope with the world right now. And there's a lot of backlash and a lot of anger, a lot of fear. So in that sense, that it brought out the broken side of people that they've now got to deal with, those shadows. But on the other hand, it reminded us that we are broken, that we are not perfect, that we are flawed, and that it's okay. It's okay to be imperfect, not to have to worry about that perfection that we maybe have been striving for through the consumerism and the distractions in the world that this pandemic has forced us to recognize and acknowledge and, in a way, embrace. So it's not meant to be a preachy chat. I really just wanted to share what I was going through, and hopefully you've got some things that you want to remember too. You know, we travel on, we move forward, we do our best. So, what did you learn about yourself? What part of your current life has been influenced by the situation with the virus? And what are the things that you do not want to forget? The things that you want to remember from this experience? Okay, everybody. Well, thank you again for being here. I hope that you're doing great. We'll talk again soon. I hope that you enjoyed this conversation. Please leave your comments below. Tell us what you want to remember about this COVID-19 situation, and we'll have a great conversation. Take good care, everybody. Bye-bye for now.